Well, hello, seniors. Today we're going to talk about the difference between AQs and PQs. Let me first start by saying that AQs get your foot in the door and the PQs make you stand out, okay? So what are AQs? AQs are academic qualities, or what this sports fan likes to call your stats, your numbers. So these numbers are the things that you bring to the table, like your test scores, your GPA, the number of honors and AP classes you've taken or IB classes you've taken. So those are your numbers, and everyone needs stats to become an eligible applicant for college. So as you learned in the last video, everyone applying to X college or Y college have typically similar AQs. So there's nothing inherently different that's going to make you stand out just purely by AQs. But do take comfort in this. Your hard work and effort have all paid off because you have those stats or those numbers, it's gaining you a ticket to the dance. It gets your foot in the door, right? So congratulate yourself because that's half the battle. That's half the battle. So now that we're in the dance, you need to think about, how am I going to get an invitation to the dance floor? What am I going to do to stand out, or how am I going to make an impression? So, PQs, personal qualities. PQs are things like interest, involvement, leadership. They answer questions like, who am I? What's important to me? What am I really good at? And how do I spend my time out of the classroom? At the end of this video, we're going to ask you to share with us some of your AQs and your PQs, the things that come to mind. But let me first give you an example. So when I was at Vassar College in the admission office, I would spend about 15 minutes reading through each applicant, and I had over 800 applicants that I was responsible for. So as I would read through, Lydia or Bryson or Kylie, I would note dutifully their AQs and their PQs. That's what was my job. I had to recalculate their GPA on a 12-point scale and then write down the things they're involved in, things like that, right? AQs and PQs. But what I quickly discovered was pretty much nearly everyone who was applying to Vassar had high grades and impressive test scores and lots of honors and AP classes. So what stood out for me, or what I really took notes on, was when I would read those essays. And I would learn about little Lydia, who worked at the family-owned store, the family-owned little market on the corner after school every day, and how she wants to grow up and be an entrepreneur. Or how I learned about how Bryson became interested in gaming and coding and what he wants to do with that in his life. Or Kylie, whose interest in French class piqued her interest in French cuisine, and she wants to be a chef. Okay? So AQs get your foot in the door. PQs make you stand out. So I'm going to, we need you to share with us some of the things that are coming to mind, but I want to draw your attention to the few things that I shared at the very beginning of this program. It's just to help you get your own creative juices flowing, right? So I shared with you my PQs at the very beginning, and some of my PQs included this. I was very active and involved in high school, in clubs, and I was the student body president. I loved watching college football on the weekends. I loved Wonder Woman. I loved building things with my father. I had a pretty good set of good friends. My favorite bands were New Kids on the Block and Culture Club. I worked a part-time job at Moffitt's Chicken Pies. My parents were separated. And I dreamt of becoming an Olympic gymnast, which didn't work out so well for me, right? So that is part of my personal history, the personal qualities, the extra things that I bring to the table, and could be, not all of them are going to make for great essays, but some of them might. So they're worth exploring, okay? So, are you ready to keep going and push forward? We want to learn about you. So, I promise you, you got this, so let's get going.